Good morning, everyone. Ben Jose from Black Wolf CrossFit on the Black Wolf Untitled podcast channel. This is a nutrition episode. We have not yet come up with a name for our nutrition episodes, so if you have any ideas, please comment in the comments. That was annoying. Please make a comment with your suggestion or send me an email, ben@blackwolfcf.com. Today we are going to discuss the nutrition challenge that will be starting on September 4th. That is Tuesday after Labor Day, which is already next week. So this challenge will be a 5-week challenge. It looks like we will have 4 teams of 8, total of 32 participants. There are a few late registers that will be added. For example, those of you that have joined this week or those of you that began your free week, you'll be receiving an email that allows you to register. For our current athletes, if you missed the deadline and you'd like to be a part of this, shoot me a note. We're not looking to reward those that put this off and didn't communicate their reason for putting it off. We want to be able to plan ahead. And for example, tomorrow Joel and I will be drafting the teams, and when people try to join on Saturday or Sunday or Monday, it becomes very difficult because we do draft those teams to be balanced. There's different ability levels, different experience levels, and different coaches have different strengths. And so when you throw in the last minute, you may need to be on a team that's already overloaded, and you end up on a team that's not ideal for you, and it's not ideal for that coach. And so that is why we had the deadline a week out. It allowed us to do some planning this week, and also to get our heads around who signed up. A lot of times the nutrition challenge, it takes us the first week of the actual challenge to figure things out, find the rhythm. And that, it's not a lost week, but it's a lost opportunity because there's so much that can be done with the planning ahead of time. So today, we are going to talk about 3 common mistakes in nutrition and then 4 reasons to participate in this challenge, okay? So 3 mistakes and then 4 reasons. And by mistakes, I mean there are also reasons you should do this, okay? But it's probably the 3 things that came to mind when I thought of what I've experienced in the past. So for a little background on me, I was very, very fortunate when I moved to Houston after going to school in San Antonio. I landed at CrossFit 1525 under Nikki. Nikki was the owner. At the time, she was one of only 2 female owners of CrossFit affiliates. So pretty special woman to work for. And, you know, I was really lucky because she prioritized nutrition. And it was the first time I had a gym that did nutrition challenges. I quickly went from being a client to being the manager of the gym, and so I got to run those challenges alongside her and then for her. And so I've had control of nutrition challenges 3 times a year for the last 7.5 years. So a lot of experience with this, and so we've learned a lot because, you know, if one person struggles with something, it generally means there are quite a few other people that probably have that same struggle. So it would be wise of us to address that struggle and to help people with that, and then to remember the counsel that was most effective, or the advice that was most effective, the practices that were most effective, so that then when you come and say, hey, I struggle with this, instead of trying to do the trial and error, trying to do the experimentation again, we can say, hey, let's get probably closer to the bullseye, even if it's not exact, because we are a little bit unique, okay? We can use what's worked for others. And so let's go through a few things. So the number one mistake today that we're going to discuss is going to be that you're probably undereating. All right. Now, when I say this, and this is where I kind of lose my mind with other people that dabble in nutrition, because they approach and say, well, if everybody's obese or everybody's overweight or everybody's inflamed, then how could they be undereating? And here's what I mean. So there's 2 caveats, two categories here. So that there's a person that consistently undereats every day. Okay, a lot of times we see this in our female athletes when they first start the challenges. We've been bombarded with the idea that calories in, calories out is our only thought. It's all that really matters. And just to put that in perspective, okay, it's not wrong. Okay, but it's wrong that that's what is being told to someone that doesn't have experience in nutrition. All right, so what it means is that when everything else is in order, then calories in, calories out is it. It's the end-all, be-all. But when you're sleeping 3 hours a night and you're stressed out and have no plans to manage that stress, and you're eating 600 calories a day while also managing to get to the gym for your poor performance twice a week, you're miserable, okay? You're miserable, and congratulations, you are absolutely eating less calories than you're expending, but congratulations, you're also probably gaining weight, and if you're not gaining weight, you're staying the same body weight while watching your body composition turn to a pile of mush, and your demeanor changes, your mental health changes, everything suffers, okay? So it's not calories in, calories out. That is not our first focus, okay? What I need our athletes to understand is that the body is the most magnificent collection of systems that exists on this earth. There's no computer that's as amazing as our body, because you know what? Man could not create the human body, the human organism, okay? Man could not do that, all the intricacies. Man can create a computer, but he or she is not able to create man. And so what we've grown from, we've evolved into these incredibly, incredibly complex systems, and that those systems require fuel, okay? So if we are under eating, we are not supplying those systems with the necessary or requisite amount of fuel in order for them to operate efficiently. And so what that means is what allows us to lose weight isn't going to function properly, okay? What allows us to find hormone balance, which would allow us to maintain our health, which would allow us to maintain enthusiasm for losing weight. I mean, how far down the rabbit hole do you want to go? You're, by under eating, okay, especially to such extremes, you are causing your systems to basically go into what we call survival mode. And I touch on this almost every time we talk about it, so I won't stay here. But there is a reason that when we increase your calories, you lose weight. Okay, there is a reason when you show up and we're like, you need to eat 600 more calories a day, and then you're like, no, no, no. And then when you finally do it, you're like, oh my gosh, I slept well, I perform well, I feel well. That's a weird word. I'm sorry for that. And most importantly, if you do it for more than a day, okay, you get a few weeks in, you're like, oh my gosh, I look amazing, okay? And so eating more is often what we have to do. But there is a second part of undereating, okay? So there is the people that tend to undereat all day, like all day, all right? But then there's a few of us, and I fall into this category when I fall into these bad habits. We do undereat, okay? And what I'm going to define undereating is, but like between, waking up and about 3 p.m., we consume a whopping 1/3 of the calories for the day, okay? So if I need to eat 3,000 calories, by 3 p.m., I check my FitnessPal, and I'm at a whopping like 1,000, maybe 1,200 calories, Well, guess what? Guess what? Then what happens is I get to the end of the day, and I'm starving, all right? And I'm stressed out now because work was rough, and my relationship's on the rocks, or my kid's being an asshole, or whatever, the dog threw up. Like, life is so unpredictable in what it throws at you, and when we're not in a good place health-wise, we respond poorly more often than not. And so when we get to the end of the day, we might be managing to convince ourselves we're not starving, but as soon as those stressors hit, we become acutely aware that we are starving. And we tend to gravitate towards foods that are not ideal, that will get our calorie load to be way, way up. Okay, remember, you go to Chick-fil-A right now, you get that number one value size, which honestly in today's society is not that big, okay? A large fry, we can say it's humongous. It's really not compared to other portion sizes or serving sizes, even at nicer restaurants. We go there and we get that with a drink, assuming it's not water, and I mean, that's got to be like 1,200 calories right there, okay? And then you're going to get a dessert, God forbid it's a milkshake, because I think that takes you like 1,800 calories. Like, my point is, you get to the end of the day, and very understandably so, you're starving, okay? And so then you binge eat, and that's where we're spending the later hours of the day consuming, one, far too many calories in a short period of time, but two, far too many of the wrong calories, okay? So again, we do not want to undereat. That is the first mistake that we often see here. The second mistake is that athletes become worried about the wrong things, okay? And this kind of goes into the third one, which I'll try to walk the line here so I'm not like two birds, one stone. But the wrong things, we become worried about making sure we're doing the right trend, okay? It's got to be the juice fast this month. It can't be Whole Foods, okay? Because Whole Foods isn't complicated enough or isn't trendy enough. It's not being spoken about enough. It has to be keto, even though we've never made it 2 weeks of making good choices, you know? I don't know. We need organic, and because we don't have access to organic, we don't have access to grass-fed. Then that's not going to be the point, or that's going to be worth it, I should say. And so we really set ourselves up for failure because you really begin to prioritize things that ultimately do not matter. Like, don't matter at all. Honestly, don't matter at all. At the end of the day, are you eating meat and vegetables? Because that's it. That's it. That's health right there. Eating lean meat and vegetables. That's it. Okay. So I don't really ever understand how you get lost past that. Like, you look at your meal and you go, that's a lean meat, and there's the presence of vegetables. I'm good to go. Or you look at your meal and go, that's definitely not a lean meat. Or, look, there's an abject lack of vegetables present, and you go, I've got to fix this, okay? And then when you realize that you got through lunch and there was no vegetables, and the snack didn't have vegetables, and now dinner doesn't have vegetables, you see you got a problem. You got bad habit formation there. So we worry about the wrong things because in the end, this is about being simple. Finally, we self-sabotage. And the reason this was very close to you worry about the wrong things is because worrying about the wrong things is a secret way to self-sabotage, okay? You want to know why a ketogenic diet is not for you? Because it requires an incredible amount of discipline to maintain. It is incredibly effective, but it is also not for everyone, okay? One, we respond to macronutrients differently. Some of us are very, very sensitive to sugar. Some of us are very, very not sensitive to sugar. So those that are more sensitive, basically you get more from a smaller dose of carbohydrates, while someone else may need a larger dose of carbohydrates to get the same response, okay? And do we want to worry about that? Look, the end-all, be-all would be getting your blood work done, okay, and then sitting down with a nutritionist or a dietitian and having them hash out a program based on that blood work, based on your response. And I absolutely believe in pursuing that for those that are interested. It's not something we offer, okay? We are here for general nutrition. But if this is something that you want to take on, that's awesome. However, if you are not going to take it on, then get it out of your mind right now. Because what you're about to do is say, well, because I can't get my blood work done, I'm not going to try anything. Wow. Great plan, okay? So again, stop the self-sabotaging. Quit making it more complicated, okay? The idea of needing to do sugar fasts, or the idea of needing to do juice fasts, or the idea of needing to do this or that, largely you are just looking for excuses to not stick to lean meat and vegetables. Like, again, it always comes back to that. What are you supposed to be eating? Real food. Oh, okay. Well, that's not very sexy, okay? And so we need to make sure we understand that when we object by saying something like, well, this isn't the ideal, this isn't perfect. Well, you know what, man? Life is about progress, not perfection. There's nothing in your life that is perfect. So why do you think it's going to start with nutrition, which you've spent 3 decades basically protesting? Okay, so for 3 decades, 4 decades, 5 decades, however old you are, you haven't cared about nutrition, but now you're only going to take care of it if you get to do it in this super duper perfect way that probably only occurs in a lab. Yeah, that's brilliant, okay? Why don't we start with some baby steps? Get some vegetables in your meals, look at the fruit, make sure we're enjoying that for our sweet and our flavor, and eliminate the sugar. At a minimum, cut it back, okay? Remember the easy ones, cut the drinking out, cut the sodas out, and if you're still smoking cigarettes, go back to 1980, all right? Maybe it's the 90s, I don't know, but like find a time machine because you're in the wrong place, okay? So do those things, and that has huge returns, all right? From there, begin to cut out things like dessert. Okay, I'm getting into a whole different episode there, so I'm going to stop, all right? So again, we make things too complicated. Another thing we do is we make the excuses for the self-sabotage. Hey, I dare you to tell me that eating healthy is expensive. I dare you, okay? We made a post on our Instagram at BlackWolfCF. If you haven't checked it out, it was shared from Paleo Approved, and basically it talks about, it's a quote from Michael Pollan. So man, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, 5 degrees, 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon there. But basically it talks about, like, you think eating healthy is expensive? First of all, you're wrong, okay? Second of all, and more importantly, let me not say you're wrong. That's not fair of me to say you're wrong. That's not fair of me to say you're wrong. You are, and if you're going to fight me on this, go ahead and bring your bank statement to me, okay? And we're going to highlight all your food choices on that bank statement, all right? And you know what you're going to find is all your cheap meals, they added up because it wasn't enough food, so you had to get multiple cheap meals, okay? You know what fills you up? A spinach salad with olive oil. You want to know how expensive that is? Not very. All right. You know what fills you up? Boiled eggs, eggs in general, whole eggs, okay? Because it's got the fat content, okay? You know how expensive those are? Not very. I don't want to hear about how it's cheaper to eat McDonald's because it's not, especially when you take into account the first thing we said about undereating and not trying to consume only 600 calories a day, which is like 1.5 meals at McDonald's, okay? So we use excuses like it's too expensive to stop us before we start. What we're saying actually is I'm afraid to take a chance here. Okay? And that's fair. It is fair to feel like it's hopeless. It is fair to take into account what you've experienced in life that suggests that there's no reason to change because what are the chances of it actually occurring? Maybe you've tried before and maybe you've fallen short, okay? I completely understand that. But here's the difference this time. I am here to help you. Adam's here to help you. Joelle's here to help you, okay? Amanda and Alex are assisting on this as well, okay? Hannah, when she's around, she's not able to take part in this challenge, but she's here to help you as well. The team is here to help. And then the better part than that is that your peers, your friends, your fellow athletes are going to be helping you in this team format as well, okay? So I completely understand that if we've tried this before and we didn't get it and maybe even put us farther back, it is so debilitating, or it can be debilitating to fail at something, okay? It can be really empowering because it's a growth opportunity, but it often is debilitating because we feel ashamed that we weren't able to do it, especially if we know someone that was able to do it as far as we know. Because again, remember, perception, you don't know what's behind closed doors, so stop that. Comparison is the thief of joy. I think I've used that every day this week, okay? So again, if you have failed at something like this before, I'm your guy. Come to me, okay? Come to us. We will take care of you, and we will help you, okay? So, reasons to do it, all right? First thing that you're going to see improve is your inflammation, all right? Now, I asked a PhD once, give me a nutrition presentation, who runs a worldwide nutrition program about systemic inflammation, and he told me it didn't exist, which is really, really weird because I've been reading a lot of like Michael Pollan, Rob Wolf, Dr. Lauren Cordain, like a lot of that, and all they talk about is inflammation. It's like, who's wrong? Okay? Well, and then guess what? You don't always have to take it to the nerds. Sometimes practical application says a lot. And in the 7.5 years I've done this, systemic inflammation is a very, very real thing. Okay, we see people every day walking around red and puffy. Okay, we see people every day walking around miserable just from their existence. You've seen me that way. Even in the last year, you've seen different versions of myself. And about 6 months ago, I was hot and heavy, literally heavy. Maybe it wasn't 6, maybe it was 8 months ago now. It's hard to say, but like, September through February wasn't a super strong time for me, okay? And I was systemically inflamed. I was not eating well. I was not being active. And so I was puffier than normal. That's not code for fat, by the way. I was heavier body weight-wise as well, but a lot of the body weight in terms of what was on the scale, okay, wasn't fat as much as it was inflammation. And that's, stored water weight, things like that. And if you don't understand inflammation, we've written a lot about it. Check the blog out. But inflammation is what goes away first. So when we do these challenges, we always have at least one person that loses like 8 to 10 pounds in a week, and you cannot lose that much body fat that fast. But it's just a reduction in swelling, okay? And guess what, though? Why is that so important? Because then you begin to feel more like your true self, okay? You begin to remove that swelling. Even before the actual body fat starts coming off, you remove that swelling, you just start to feel better. So that's a huge reason to take this first step. That also goes hand in hand with feeling lethargic. Unsustainable energy levels, like our erratic energy levels throughout the day. I still remember Carissa Stith. She's now the powerlifting coach at CrossFit Zeke. She one day told me, I think we're talking about nutrition, I don't know, but like she basically had gotten a little, and she was not joking, but like lighthearted in delivery, but she was like, Yeah, so maybe when you start becoming an asshole around 2 p.m., you could pop in a few boiled eggs and save us all. And like that stuck with me. I think she said that in like 2012, and it's 2018 now, and I still remember it. But like food is your energy. Like literally, like food is energy. You've heard that one before. Like food is your energy. I don't think we take it that next. Like, I don't feel good. Like I'm not awake. I don't have. Are you underfueled? Like if your car doesn't have gas, it doesn't run. If you don't have food, you don't run. Okay, like you can't operate. And so we always point to sleep, but like we'll get to that too. Let's also look at food. If you're undereating, your sleep is already shit, and your sleep will not get better because you don't have the fuel for it, okay? Sleep requires good, healthy nutrition as well, and enough calories as well, okay? If you don't eat enough, you're basically living every night semi-conscious because your body's doing some really weird stuff trying to cope with the new regular calorie intake, okay? So this challenge is going to directly impact your energy levels. You're going to have better energy week 3 than you do week 1, all right? And you can pretty much count on that. The second major point, stress management, okay? I assure you there's nobody better to talk to about this because I have had to confront my inability to process and cope with stress over the last year and a half. And things are a lot better now. And there's so much that has helped me from books I've read, from therapy, from so many different areas, from just, better teammates on the coaching team, athletes that are breathing positivity into us as much as we're trying to breathe positivity into them. There's so much that is assisted in this. But one of the biggest things is when I quit not taking my nutrition seriously. I quit eating junk food at night. I had a habit of like getting 2 packs of M&Ms and always having that before bed. And then I've talked in the past about eating like entire jars of peanut butter before bed, like on a work night. Like not that it'd be better on a Saturday night, but like I think Saturdays, we're okay with like stupid things happening on Saturdays, even though we probably shouldn't be. But like on a Tuesday, I'd be like, it was a long day. Let me kill some peanut butter. Yeah. Well, guess what? Also coincided with that, my wild inability to process even the smallest stressor. Okay, and so instead of just leaving it as like, I guess I'm just an asshole. I don't like that. And, there was a time in my life where I tried to embrace that, and I was like, this is just who I am. And then I started to realize, well, actually, it's not. This is just the result of the factors that I have failed to address, the variables that I'm not caring to maintain. And so taking a step with my nutrition helped that a ton. And it's still not perfect, but when you're undereating, first of all, you don't have energy for your brain. Your brain takes fuel the same way your muscles do, the same way your organs do. It's going to be what it's going to be the nucleus of our organism, basically, like the center of our system. Should be our highest priority, but we fuel it like we don't really care. We got a Ferrari piece of equipment, and we're fueling it like you're driving my 2007 Yaris with the door that doesn't stay open by itself. Sorry, my hatch door like falls on my head every time because the pneumatic pump is gone, or the pump is gone that holds it up. And so we're not serving ourselves well. We don't respect ourselves. And so food is the biggest step there. When I changed my food, my thoughts are clearer, my ability to process things are clearer. And also, like, not lost on me, I sleep better. And when I'm well rested, I process things better. Like, you want to have a bad day, go into a stressful situation on 2 hours of sleep. Like, you're not going to handle it well. And if you manage to, there's going to be something else that breaks you. And so food allows us to process our thoughts better. And that directly impacts our mental health and our ability to manage stress. Finally, we have immune health, okay? I've said it before. There's these there's these people on Facebook, okay? And I'm trying to stay away from Facebook, but like, it's usually like these women that need attention. They're like, sick again. And then like 2 weeks go by and like, now I have the flu. And like another week, I was like, Billy gave me the cold. Like, honey, It ain't nobody's fault but you, because there's no way a healthy individual gets sick that often. Okay? So immune health starts in the gut, starts in the small intestine specifically. It's the whole system, but the small intestines has the biggest impact on it. And so when we're consuming the wrong foods, when we're consuming highly inflammatory foods, it mucks up the works. Basically, antibodies into a whole bunch of science, okay? But basically, the immune system then goes to battle food, irritating food, and it basically reduces its ability to then respond to actually illness in the system, okay? And so when we're eating bad foods, we're basically assigning tasks to our white blood cells that they should not have to deal with. And then when they have the stuff they should deal with, they're spread too thin and they can't adequately eradicate the body of the sickness. And we fall prey to things like the freaking cold. It's 2018. We still get colds. Like, we got to get past that, folks. You really shouldn't even get the flu. But I haven't seen like science on that yet. It's just my feeling. Like, my team doesn't get the flu. Anyways, you can't make sweeping generalizations like that. But basically, guys, if you're getting sick frequently, that's directly related to the food you're eating. And so if we change our food, we're going to be a lot happier with how productive we're able to stay. Then last, certainly not least, probably the most important in our eyes, though it should not be. You know, we say the goal of Black Wolf CrossFit is get you to live to 110 pain-free. We want to thrive in old age. And so you're training now for long life. You're not training now for the now. Kelly Starrett is the man that we credit with the quote that we're meant to move until we're 110 pain-free. But when I say that, it's hard for a 30-year-old to think about 110. It's hard to get a 25-year-old to think about 30, honestly. And so the good news is there is a benefit to all of this that is in the now. When you take care of yourself in order to live to 110 and be pain-free, you also tend to start looking better naked. Okay? Now, why isn't this point number one? I have found that when you send me your goals and they are strictly body composition, I have found you will fall into the category of athlete that is not very motivated. It doesn't mean you don't mean it. It doesn't mean that you don't get excited at the thought of you having some new muscle definition or you having a new waistline or whatever. It doesn't take anything away from that. But what it does mean is that you don't have staying power. When we're motivated by the aesthetic, we are too susceptible to rationalization. You know, when I was 15 pounds heavier just a couple months ago, I knew I was heavy, or I became aware of it, I should say. I didn't know for a while. Why don't you ever tell me I'm fat? Okay? But I realized it. And then once I knew, there were days where I was motivated to eat healthy because I knew I could not be the fat gym owner. I could not be the unhealthy coach. But there were also days where I kind of checked myself out and I started feeling myself at that 15 pounds heavier. Okay? Shouldn't have been. I didn't look good. Didn't look good. But we can rationalize anything. You can hop out of that shower and be like, I ain't fat. I'm thick, okay? And this isn't about everybody needs to be skinny. Swear to God, if you manage to spin it that way, you're an asshole, okay? We are absolutely unique individuals, and there are men and women that look good at 50, 60, 70 pounds over what society would tell them to be, okay? Women, guess what's not a bad weight? And it depends on height. Like if you're 4 foot tall, this doesn't apply to you. But you know what? I know some beautiful ladies, and I'm not talking inside that counts. I'm talking exterior, aesthetically pleasing to the eye, like well-defined beauty at 185 pounds, okay? That's it. Now, when we started this grand experiment back in 2011, like I had women that should be 175, 185 telling me they wanted to be 115, okay? And what's changed is I think we're empowering men and women to embrace that there's no standard weight. 100 pounds is not the goal, okay? You know, if you're 5'10" and you're happy to be in your moving weight, there's a really good chance, like a super high chance, that 100 pounds is not your goal body weight, okay? And that's awesome. Not even 115 pounds, kids, okay? We have to be realistic about this. So there's no prescribed weight, so I can't tell you, hey, 145 is good for you because it might be 165, it might be 125. We're all different. Okay, we are all different. But guess what? I can get out of the shower at 225 and be like, damn, I look good, okay? But if I pursued that 10-pound weight loss from 15-pound weight loss from 240 to 225 just to look good, I might have gotten 5 pounds down before I said, you know what? I think 235 is enough. And then what would happen? I would have been 240 the next week and 245, gone 5 pounds up after that. So we don't want to be motivated strictly by the prospect of looking better naked. But what we can take comfort in knowing is that when we eat well, to be better humans, when you change your diet to be a better parent, to be a better husband, to be a better wife, be a better teacher, be a better leader, be a better athlete, be a better whatever, okay? We have the side benefit, the side effect of looking better naked, all right? So that's all I got. Again, if you're interested in signing up for this, shoot me a note. Registration is closed, but if you tell me a good story, I will put you on the list. Y'all are awesome. Have a great day. Eat a vegetable. Drink some water. Bye.